there are some things I need to get from my workshop. Disassembling the central inscription? It's not going to be easy. You two can wait outside for a moment. I just need to go in and grab something. The workshop is a little messy, so... Oh, yeah, that's not really what I mean. It's not the mess that's really the problem. It's just that the workshop is cluttered with way too much stuff. Everything's piled up to the ceiling. Kachina suffered quite an unfortunate series of events the last time she went inside. Well, I suppose it was my fault for being... After entering the workshop, she was shocked to find herself face to face with a massive woven scroll from the Masters of the Nightwind, and then she turned around and knocked over a huge stack of forging. She tried to step out of the way, but tripped on a poster tube that was behind her, and then boom! The forging blueprints came crashing down right onto her head. She's lucky I noticed in time. I found Kachina in a daze and managed to save her before an entire set of the history of the Children of Echoes was about to begin. Ever since then, Kachina always waits outside the door and doesn't dare take a step in whenever she...
Yeah, you're an artisan and craftswoman, but it seems more like a library...
Well, my primary work is forging ancient names, which is much trickier than... You probably already know that each ancient name represents a certain spirit. In other words, the essence of an ancient name is the physical manifestation of a certain spirit. And as a name engraver, when I'm working on a new ancient, but more importantly, I'm also trying to understand the spirit contained. And to do that, I have to collect as many related stories. But, as you might know, people tend to add a lot of extraneous details for stories that have been clearly exaggerated or altered. I must gather other related. This way, I can filter out all the only in true stories can you find. And this is the only way for the spirit to become an ancient name.
We've heard about the concept behind ancient names.
Well, no matter how powerful ancient names could be, they would never be able to suddenly turn into a blade or allow you to... It's just a form of spiritual power. Well, take your own names, for example. From the moment you appeared in this world, some person had already prepared a blessing, and that person then condensed this blessing into your name and gave it to you as a... It may feel like the moment you received your name is already in the past. Names are blessings for the future from people standing in the past. With this blessing, people will become more confident as they walk into their future.
Oh, Paimon gets that. If you're alone when you're walking in the dark, it's easy to get... But if someone else is walking with you, then it won't be nearly as scary. And, well, you might still get... The Traveler always has Paimon by his side, though, so he'll never have to worry about that. Oh, Paimon sure many wish they could be in your shoes, Traveler. Paimon's always flying! Of course it gets tiring! But we're getting off topic. We can talk about that later.
Anyway, this is what Plisoli told me when I was training as a name. And to be honest, I've only...
But doesn't that mean you basically...
Well, that's not entirely true. Auntie... you know what? I am sick of talking.
Did you hear a whole section of something collapse in there just now?
It's fine, it's fine. It was just a bunch of very old ancient name records. I've already made copies. I kept this set of phlogiston wedges. Come on, let's go disassemble the central inscription. Here we are. This is the place.
This cliff is pretty high. What are we going to do here? Are we going to climb to the very top and then throw this inscription down the cliff?
I'm going to use phlogiston to make an engraving circle on the cliff wall. That will allow... Now let me see if this thing can even turn on. I was still an apprentice last time I used it. Before we attempt to engrave the inside pattern of an ancient name with phlogiston, we always use this to draw out only after we've confirmed that phlogiston can flow properly through the internal engravings can we start formally working on the small internal... If we want to dismantle the central inscription in a non-destructive manner, we'll have to use this thing.
Oh, so you'll be able to see what it looks like on the...
For the most part. If it were just an ordinary unfinished ancient name piece, but since it's a central inscription, it would be better not to destroy the blessing that Auntie has prepared for Yaksha.
So, Shilonen, does this central inscription fall under the 20% you understand about ancient names, or the other 80% you don't understand?
Oh, don't worry. As I said, Auntie and I share which is, names are intrinsic. Only by having names can things be sorted and categorized. For example, when I order ore, I would usually say I need volcanic crystals of about 35% purity and no more than 3% of impurities. Without specific names, I would only be able to go to the ore merchant and say, I want this and this. No, this isn't it. That one. No, not that one either. Yeah, you see what I mean? Names are a crucial part of how we standardize our workflow. Without names, the work would be impossible. Yes, because forging ancient names is first and foremost. As for the question of why it's important, as long as it does not affect your ability to perform your work, you'll gradually understand it as you put the process into practice. After all, creating an ancient name is quite the... Well, let me break it down even further. We're not in the tribe right now anyway. Essentially, by forging ancient names, giving someone a name is a subjective expression, but giving someone a nickname is a much more objective expression. If ancient names or nicknames aren't descriptive enough, no one will remember them anyway. So the best I can do is gather all the information I could and try to come up. Even a minor mistake in the process could cause people to misunderstand the nickname. For a name engraver such as myself, such mistakes would be considered a major blunder.
Paimon isn't trying to come up with a nickname for Shilonen. Besides, all of Paimon's nicknames have been very descriptive. Everyone can remember them.
Phew. Now I'm curious. Why not?
Are you serious?
Of course. This is also my line of work, you know. Go ahead.
A nickname? Shilonen. Well, she uses phlogiston to forge weapons and make names for others.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. And quite... But, you should keep observing my work, Paimon. Maybe you'll come up with an even better nickname. Right, okay. Time to make like a smith and start smithing. Bring it! Adjust the inclination by 2 degrees. Stop. The error margin is within an acceptable amount, but I'll extend the inscription link a little more just to be safe. I'll leave some space here. When the linked engravings are activated, the inscriptions here will overlap with each other. There! That should complete the flow.
Amazing, Shilonen! You were running all over that cliff as if it was flat ground!
Oh no, it doesn't have anything to do with my tribe. It's just the phlogiston adhesive I have on my But after all that running around, I'll have to infuse them with more phlogiston again. Huh. I should... more or less, yeah. I can show them to you when we next find the time, but let's get to work first. Let me see. Start with anchor 1 and activate it with density 3 phlogiston.
Whoa! A super huge diagram just appeared! Tlasoli's central inscription is even floating! So are you done checking the inscription, Shilonen?
I didn't find any anomalies in the phlogiston engraving. All the adjustments are indeed based on ancient name engraving techniques.
That means we can help Tlasoli and Nechka now, right?
Well, probably, but I have good news and bad news. Oh,
Paimon will cover her ears after the good news.
well, even if you cover your ears, What are your thoughts on absorbing memories? I knew you felt the same way, and that'll save me some initial explanation. It's hard to control the absorption of memories. Technically speaking, this type of... by herself, Auntie can't handle that level and scope of work, but if she has accomplices, it is completely possible for...
Accomplices? You make it sound like...
Well, here's the good news. Yes, this blaze gem inscription would be the perfect tool to commit crimes, but we have, from a purely objective standpoint, we can consider that possibility. The bad news is, there's still an underlying problem. I believe I've mentioned this before. Ancient names operate with the help of the Wayab, granting them the power. In this process, the Wayab actually function like relays, helping the ancient name bearer sense the information. If you remove the Wayab from the process and don't use any tools, then finding a specific story is akin to trying to scoop up a specific grain of sand from a rushing river. Yeah, exactly. Anyone who attempts to do so will likely lose most of... Now, let's consider the memories that Auntie has gathered as the ley line. And, there's no way Auntie would let Nechka plunge into the river of memories without any tools. She'd only be overwhelmed. And considering that Nechka has forgotten all of her past, she'll be unable to work. Only Aunt Tlasoli can help her filter the correct memories of her past. So, if my hypothesis is correct, Auntie is actually planning on turning herself into Nechka's Wayab to help her extract the corresponding memories in the different situations she may face. In an ideal world, this would be perfectly fine, as long as every extracted memory is correct. And I also believe that there won't be any mistakes in everything that Auntie remembers about Nechka. But Auntie is not a Wayab. Her body won't be able to handle the load for long.
But how can we solve this problem? No matter how we try, Tlasoli...
Names are blessings for the future from people standing in the path. I've also made up my mind. Come on.
Okay.